Welcome, everybody, to Pinfalls. I, of course, am who else but Tommy else. And joining me, as always, from Skokie, Illinois, is the man on the beat, from JohnG'sBeat.com, Mr. John Wroblewski.
Oh, baby, we're back. How are you, Tommy?
I'm good. The champ is here. Up two for a lifetime now in our scoring here on Pinfalls. uh 22 and 4.
That's
uh
ridiculous. 22 and 4 this year. Although, I mean, I'm not far behind,
well,
but
that's that's 20, what, for matches, is that what that is? 22
yeah,
and
it's
4.
your record.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, all right, yeah, 22 and 4, but I mean 19 and 7, though. That's still respectable. I mean, if you looked at baseball terms, I mean, it's still, it's all right. But yeah, I am out. I am up right now, and it is time for Money in the Bank.
I was going to say, with the way your record is going, your picks are just like having money in the bank.
Take it easy. Take it easy. I do like this pay-per-view. I'm a big fan of Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank has been going on for, man, what is it, 2025 now?
Something like that.
It's gotta be 20 years almost that Money in the Bank's been around, because I remember them having Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 21. No, I'm sorry, it was WrestleMania 22 that I was at, where RVD won the Money in the Bank briefcase. So I got to go
Trying to
not
get
only
your answer.
I got to go not only and see WrestleMania, but a Money in the Bank match, and my favorite guy win it. So John is on the Google looking
I'm on
for,
the Google.
trying to see when
Oh,
the
there it is.
original Money in the Bank was, and the answer is
Hang on, kids.
unbelievable.
Took place at well, it took place at the flagship event WrestleMania from 2005 through
Yeah,
2010.
yeah, it was just a specialty match. It was not its own pay-per-view for a while. It was originated by Mr. Chris Jericho, actually. He's the one who came up with the Money in the Bank idea. However, never won any of the Money in the Bank matches he was ever in. So there's a little fun fact for you.
Fun fact.
This year, since the original Money in the Bank, there has then branched out into the women's Money in the Bank as well. So now at the pay-per-view, it features both, and then a couple of side matches. So now that we know who's got the lead right now between us, let's talk about the card and what we're looking at for this one. We only have four matches, so it's going to be interesting to see where we land on our picks.
This could be good because, with one in the bank, there's six competitors in each match. The odds of us picking the same guy this could be interesting.
It's harder, yeah. They're slimmer for sure. So let's do the non-Money in the Bank matches first. We're going to talk about let's talk about the Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria versus the man, your favorite, Becky Lynch. Lyra Valkyria has been the Women's Intercontinental Champion for a few months now, at least. I believe she's the first Women's Intercontinental Champion. I don't think it's switched hands yet.
Correct.
Her and Becky have had this rivalry between the Irish chicks going here, and it has not been like the most exciting thing I've ever seen.
Which is weird because I like both competitors.
Lyra reminds me of Winnie from
The
what's that
Wonder
show?
Years?
The Wonder Years. Yeah, it's like if Winnie was a wrestler. She's got that face,
That's a good call.
she's got that Winnie face. I always see that, and honestly, I know everybody loved Winnie. I was not a fan of Winnie.
I was not a fan. No, no. Topanga crushed Winnie
Oh,
every day.
there's no question. That's not even a competition. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Anyway, honestly, I would very much like to see Becky Lynch win this, but I don't know. I'm really torn on this one because it's like Lyra has had the title for a while now, and I think that it's not necessarily time for her to give it up. And then what does Becky really need it for? I think this could build up a little bit more before it goes to Becky, because again, I think at some point Becky's going to end up having to have some part in Seth Rollins' new faction. I just have this feeling like, why wouldn't she be in
Right.
there?
Yeah.
She's a heel, he's a heel. If everything's lined up like that, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, all the other factions have at least one or two women in their factions now. So why wouldn't he, especially with his wife? So, with that in mind, I think that they're going to kind of try to squeeze a little more out of this rivalry, and I think that Valkyria will find a way to win the match.
Figured you'd say that. Well, actually, no, I thought you might go Becky, but I am going Becky.
Okay.
I do think there's gonna be another match after this, and I think Becky will probably win that, depending on the terms and what happens after. I think Becky's gonna say thank you for breaking in the belt, thank you for holding it for me, keeping it warm. Now it's my turn, and I think Becky's gonna have a nice long run with it to give it real credibility, real stability. Lyra, I like her. I don't think she's done a whole lot with it. So it's
I
time to give it to
agree.
Becky.
I don't think she's been, yeah, no, I don't think she's done anything interesting since she's been the Intercontinental Champion. But at the same time, it's like, I hate to say it, but, Becky's also kind of been not the most interesting either. She's just being Becky, which is
But
great. And
that's interesting.
well, Becky just being Becky is still more interesting than Lyra Valkyria. So,
That's
I
the
mean,
point.
I'll give you that. But, I think I think that ultimately Becky's, you know, in behind the scenes here, I think she's trying to help like push Lyra and everything
I I
and
agree.
get her name out there. And not that she couldn't do it and win, with by and not win the title, but I just think that like I could see them maybe hanging on to that for like SummerSlam or something like that. So,
Well, I see SummerSlam as maybe a bigger match, but to your
well,
point
that's
too.
why I think that's when the belt would change, is because I think it would be a bigger match. So,
Well, to your point too, though, giving her the belt and the Heyman group, the Seth Rollins faction, is what I was trying to say.
yeah,
Now there's another belt. Bring it into the faction.
for sure. Yeah. And I do think that's where it's going. I just don't know that it's going to happen this Saturday. That's all.
Well, I'm torpedoing this year anyway, so I'm going with Becky regardless. I think she's going to win it.
All right. All right. Uh, then we have a tag team match.
Yeah.
We have the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, teaming up with your WWE champion Jey Uso against the WWE heavyweight champion John Cena, 17 times champion, and the Maverick Logan Paul.
Filler.
Um, I believe that in no uncertain terms, John Cena and Logan Paul are going to win this match. So I think that Cena has done. I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about how Cena's run is going right now with this whole thing. Personally, I think he's doing it right. I think he's doing this exactly the way he should if he's going to go heel and go out this way. I like the storyline of this clock that's ticking down. Um, and now it gets interesting because now you're going to have a money in the bank contender out there running around with a briefcase who could try to use it to, to save the championship from John Cena. But at every turn, John Cena keeps getting, when it really matters, John Cena keeps getting the win, whether it's through a low blow or whatever it takes. And Logan Paul is certainly not afraid to bring in the brass knucks and things like that. There's no titles on the line in this, but I do think that they're just trying to build as much heat as possible. I mean, the fact that they even put him and Logan Paul together makes heat right there. People are going to hate that because you've got the guy who basically defines professional wrestling in the modern era, with the guy who is like the anti-wrestler that everybody resents for being there and considers him an outsider who doesn't belong. So they are like the two polar opposites, and by all rights should have no interest in working with one another at all. But because Cena has gone so heel, it works, and they could make it happen. Um, and them getting a win just generates more sympathy for the other guys, for Rhodes and for Uso than anything. I'm sure it'll be a good fight. I mean, you know, the one thing about Logan Paul that nobody denies is that he is great in the ring. And if you really put feet to the fire, is probably better than Cena is as a wrestler.
Yeah,
So,
I can't disagree.
um, I think it'll be a good match, but I think that it's just they just want to keep that fire burning and get it bigger and bigger and bigger so that when it really, you know, when it all comes to fruition, it really has the biggest pop. Cena's just going to keep that, you know, the one thing that Cena's going to get in the in between is like, you know, he gets RKO'd in the ring and he's left there. You know, it's like people are getting their shots in like in the points, you know, in between on Raw and SmackDown and things like that. He's been left in the ring plenty of times on his back during this whole thing, but it's always like at the end of a segment on a show or something. But when it comes down to the pay-per-views, by hook or by crook, he finds a way and he gets the win. And then he's just smug as hell about it. If he loses this match, you're taking steam out of that for him. And so I don't see how they can go any way other than him and Logan Paul going over.
Well, I agree with part of what you're saying. Cena, first of all, I totally agree with you on Cena. He's done a fantastic job. Some of the best work of his whole career, I think.
Yeah.
And absolutely with Logan Paul, he's fantastic in the ring. Like him or not, he's
Hmm.
doing it. They don't need the win. It is, I hear what you're saying, and I can't totally disagree with what you're saying, but they don't need the win. Cody needs a win. Cody and the loss won't do anything really to Cena, certainly not to Logan Paul. It won't really matter. It might actually start creating tension between Cena and The Rock, between Cena and Logan Paul. We don't know where that can go. Remember, there's only like five and a half months, yeah, whatever, 5.5 months left of matches. This could be the start of a, you know, past his eventual face turn. So
I
I'm
think
going with Rhodes and Uso.
okay. Now that's when I really think you're going to lose.
All right.
I'll give you a coin flip on the Becky Lynch match, but this one is like I feel like I got like a shoe in on this one. So we'll
All
see.
right. Well, we got two
We'll,
already different.
we'll see. We'll see. I think that I don't think that Cody losing this match and Jay losing this match is going to hurt them either. And if anything, because if they lose, it's going to be because these guys obviously cheat or do something, you know, crooked to make it happen. So it's not like they're getting a legit win over them. They'll just get sympathy for it, like I said. So
Well, I think the
they
start.
get sympathy from the crowd. Cena, his heat just gets hotter, and
But see, I think the heat gets hotter if he loses too, because then you got heat from potentially The Rock, potentially Logan Paul.
yeah. But see,
Who knows? He
you
could
can't
snap
mount.
and beat the hell out of Cody.
See, you got it. You can't have that much. You can't have people from the bad guys hitting up on him too, though. Okay, because if the heels are pissed at him too, that's no good. He needs to be the number one bad guy, and he needs to be putting it up against nothing but good guys all the way the rest of the way. Like, you know, it's okay if they have like words or something like that, but like, I mean, like if they get, I can see when you get right down to the end, maybe that starts happening. But this is only June.
Well,
I know there's still, like you said, it's only 5.5 months. It's not that long, really.
was
But
it three pay-per-views?
no, it'll probably be
Four.
at least four. But still,
All right.
I don't think it's I think it's early. I think it's early.
Well, I think he's retiring as a face, however that happens. So we'll see.
They'll find a way. I mean, I think it's going to be like the Rock Hogan situation type of thing, you know, where like they have the match and at the end, like you know, Hogan came around and you know went from the black and whites to the red and yellows, you know. All right, Money in the Bank time, women's match. Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Julia, Naomi, and Stephanie Vaquer. Um, Honestly, I see there's a lot of NXT girls here, okay? But the one that's really on fire right now is Stephanie Vaquer. She has had the Women's North America Championship and simultaneously carried the Women's NXT Championship. I think she relinquished the North American Championship, which I thought was BS. They made it sound like she was like, well, I have these two titles and I want to be fair to the rest of the women's division, so I'm going to give this up so that they have a chance to fight for something, and not just, no, you fight to get those titles and
100%.
you keep them. And if you get three, you keep them. And if you get four, you keep it. Now you got to defend all of that, and I understand that, but you don't voluntarily give up any title.
Agreed.
I don't agree with that move at all. I thought that was
Agreed.
terrible, terrible story writing there because if you're not there to be holding two belts, man, I mean, like, what the hell? I mean, you
Then
got
sit on the bench.
not many people go their entire careers and never have two belts at the same time. I mean, like that's a big deal. At least it should be. And if they act like it isn't, then they devalue the whole idea of it.
Totally.
That being said, they are very big on her and they are pushing her very hard. And she's who I think is going to win the women's Money in the Bank. Alexa Bliss has no steam behind her. Rhea Ripley will find herself, in some storyline doing something somewhere regardless. She doesn't need to win the Money in the Bank. Roxanne Perez, I just and Julia, I don't think anyone gives a damn about right now. Naomi, she's trying to do the solo thing. She's trying,
Sort of patronizing of you. Pat her on the
God,
head, move her along.
God bless her. She's, she got herself some new gear and a new song, and working a gimmick, trying to be heel, and it's just with Naomi, it's like she's one of those people that it's hard to take her seriously as a heel. There's just some people you can't buy it from. And I mean, like, even I had that issue at a certain point where it was like I never really got heat. It was like I was a heel, but like
People
I
loved
was
you too
I
much.
was a heel on paper, and I just also you know, like Marche Rocket told me once, he's like, you can't be a heel. He's like, you've got those dreamy eyes, man. He's like, you can't, he's like,
Oh, I don't want to know about your dreamy eyes.
I know. I texted his wife and I said, just so you know, your husband thinks I have very dreamy eyes. But yeah, he was like, you have that face that's just no one's gonna buy it. And it's the same thing with her. She's just, it's like you've already seen her. She's just, it's an act. You would have to be coming into wrestling completely blind and seeing her for the very first time to have any
Yeah.
suspension of disbelief that you might buy that she's a heel. So she's finding herself still. So the one who seems to be the most solid right now and has some trajectory in the company is Stephanie Vaquer. So I'm going to go with her.
Well, I agree on a lot of it. To make a long insanity short, it came down to Fakur or Ripley. And I thought, if I'm saying Becky's going to win the belt, then maybe Ripley wins the Money in the Bank. But we've kind of seen enough of that.
But see, even still, the belt that she's winning is the Intercontinental title. So it's not like it's like they're
Right.
not going to cash it in on that. They
Right.
always like imply that I might get the IC title, or maybe I'll
Yeah.
get the US title. It's like you're not going to win. Nobody has
Maybe
ever
I'll go
done
for the
it.
tag titles. No.
Right. No one has
Right.
ever done it before, and they're not going to. I mean,
Right.
nobody, I mean, there'd have to be a really, really deep seated rivalry with somebody, and that just happened to be the belt that they had, and you just want to do it just to burn them for that. And right now, there's no story that's going on that
Yeah.
has that.
You're not
So,
going to waste Ripley and Lynch on that. So that just leaves me with that core. They are pushing her. I give her the win.
all right. Okay. men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Solo Sikoa, poor LA Knight, Seth freaking Rollins, which I thought they said they were getting rid of. I at one point heard they were going to
And they
stop.
did.
Well, and now they're doing it
And I
again.
hate it
They're doing it
because they
again.
pounded into
Just
it was
enough with the freaking. It
it
just
was
doesn't.
like when Moxley was always what do they always used to call him? They had some stupid thing that they
Oh,
always
he had a what was it? I know what you're talking about, but he had a moniker that they always gave him. Yeah.
yeah, but and they just beat it to death.
So Solo Sikoa, LA Knight, Seth Rollins, Penta, Andrade, and El Grande Americano, which is one of my favorite things going on in wrestling right now. I love El Grande Americano. I
That
always,
sounds like a good sandwich.
it does sound like a good sandwich, yeah. I would have whatever that is, yeah.
Yeah,
The El
some
Grande Americano.
like maybe
It's
turkey
like
with
a
some
mix of
avocado,
a mix of Mexican and American something,
a
in a
little hot sauce.
sandwich. Yeah, no, I would eat that. Uh, okay, so when you're looking at Money in the Bank, you got to look at like who's the champions right now, and like who would want to go after who, and what would they do with that Money in the Bank. So our current champions right now are Jey Uso and John Cena. All right, so bear that in mind as we go through the list. Solo Sikoa. All right. I see right now he's got his storyline going on with his cousin. Him having the Money in the Bank makes absolutely no sense. I mean, there's just no reason for him to have it at all. I don't think he would beat. I don't think he would get the jump. Certainly, he's not going to get the jump on John Cena and be the one who takes the belt off of him. That's not going to happen. And yeah, he could do it with Jey Uso, but I mean, to what end? It's like then what? I mean, now we've got Solo as the champ. I don't know. Without the bloodline or people backing him up, and right now he doesn't really have anyone really backing him up. He's got his one buddy, but that's it. I don't see it going anywhere. LA Knight is just doomed to just not get any push, anytime soon, from what I can tell. I love LA Knight. I love him to death.
Does he have
I
dreamy eyes?
He's got some pretty peepers, yeah. He's got, he's not bad. I think he's got some steel blue eyes, if I
All
recall.
right.
But I just, I would love a world where LA Knight was on fire right now and won the Money in the Bank, and that would be great. But I don't see it happening. Penta. Penta's on fire, but again, what's he gonna do? It's gonna be Penta versus, I mean, in versus, I mean getting the jump on whoever. He's not gonna take it from Cena, and I don't think that's how Penta is gonna win his first title, and it's also too early for him. Andrade just came back, same thing. And while I love El Grande Americano more than anybody else in this match currently, I just don't see any reason why that guy is going to walk out with the Money in the Bank. In almost any other environment, I would have given him strong consideration, uh, and I may have even considered Penta. But with the current champions and the direction that the storylines are going with everything right now, there's a lot on the line these days. Okay. And so that, of course, leaves Seth Rollins, who I
Oh,
know,
freaking problems.
Seth freaking Rollins, who, yes, has won Money in the Bank, I believe, multiple times now. So, uh, which is one reason I would normally steer away from him. However, in lieu of him having a title right now, and with getting this faction going underway, him having the Money in the Bank briefcase makes him an even bigger threat and gives more power to his faction. Uh, Sami Zayn was very, very worried about this happening. He made that clear in his promo he had with CM Punk on Monday, and begged Punk to win that match so that somebody was in there who could beat him because clearly Sami Zayn doesn't think any of these other guys are going to win either. And Punk
Not a big vote of confidence.
right, and Punk lost the match. He lost his qualifying match, so he's not in it. And so I think that if they're trying to tell the story that there's that fear in the locker room of Seth Rollins getting his hands on it, it's the most compelling part of the entire story. And so I'm going with Seth freaking Rollins.
And you've outlined perfect reasons for all those guys. And the money really is against Cena. Whoever ultimately wins the Money in the Bank to go after Cena. That's what the payout is whoever versus Cena, I think.
Well, so here's what I think, though. I don't think that Seth Rollins is worried about Cena, to be perfectly honest. I think he would be very happy to just take that title away from Jey Uso. That's the title, because that's the title that Seth Rollins made. He made that title and gave it its prominence. He's invested all of his career into that specific title, not the other WWE Championship. And I don't think that they're going to get. I don't think that. Uh, I think if somebody had the money in the bank and tried cashing it in on Cena, it would be almost a guarantee that weren't going to cash it in. They'd be one of the few people Cena would find a way out of, and I don't think they would do that to Rollins. Uh, they could, like, if it was Penta or somebody like that, then yeah, he'd go and try to cash it in, the place would go nuts, but Cena would find a way through it. It's like there's only been a few people who have like screwed it up.
Right.
Sheamus did it, Miz did it. There's been a few people who didn't get the cash in when they tried. Uh, and I really strongly believe Rollins is going to win it, and so I don't see him going after Cena with it though. It's going to most likely be Jey Uso, because again, that roster on Raw right now, their biggest enemy and their biggest fear of what they consider the end of Raw, not wrestling, but the structure of Raw hangs in the balance of Seth Rollins right now. So it makes him incredibly dangerous. And so everybody they're just worried about dealing with him. SmackDown and everyone else, they're all tied up in the John Cena thing and stuff. And I think they're going to keep those separate uh, because they're two big storylines. There's enough substance going on in both of them that if you start bringing them together somehow, it's going to get real convoluted and confusing and everything. So I believe they got to keep them separate, and that's why he'll go after Uso for it. And plus, honestly, it'd probably be an easier win to get. Especially with having his whole team behind him. So
Well, you make a compelling case, and you may be right in that. But either way, I'm still going with Seth freaking Rollins. And by the way, Ambrose was the lunatic fringe,
the lunatic fringe. Yeah, you're right.
which they
That's what it was.
pounded the
Yeah,
hell out of. But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I agree with everything you said about the other wrestlers. I'm not. I can see where you're going with the match with Uso versus Rollins. I'm not 100% sold on that, but either way, nobody's asking about that yet. It's still. I still predict Rollins for the win.
And again, it won't even be a match. I mean, it'll be, like maybe it's Uso versus Gunther again or something like that.
Did
And
they let him go?
Gunther?
Yeah, no,
Oh, I can't, man. I didn't hear that. I'd be shocked if they did. What the hell would they let him go for?
I'm not sure. I thought I read that, but I could be wrong.
Well, he would have had to have like taken a dump in Triple H's gym bag or something like that to get them to let him go. And even then, they might let it slide. I mean,
I
like
might be
that
wrong on
that
that.
that guy's been gold. They let R-Truth go.
Yeah, and Carmella and maybe Miz, but I don't know. I think there's more to that story. I think they might be TNA bound, and then they're coming back. I don't think
Yeah.
we've seen the last of those guys on the WWE platform.
Real quick, and I'm sure you won't mind taking a moment for this. Speaking of people being let go from the WWE, our good friend, who people would know on WWE television as Valhalla, uh, part of the Viking Raiders and formerly part of the Riot Squad. We know her as Sarah, and when she wrestled in Resistance Pro and on the independent circuit in general, she was known as Crazy Mary Dobson. She was just recently informed that WWE was letting her contract go. Now, she hasn't wrestled in a couple of years, as she has been, she had a child, was with him for a couple of years, and now she's on number two. So honestly, I was surprised that her contract was still going.
Exactly.
When she
Yeah.
said that, I was like, wow, that was, I thought, generous of them to keep her contracted all that time. She's interesting. She's married to Eric Rowe, one half of the Viking Raiders, and they live on a farm. They're all self-sustained. They grow their own, everything, and they've got their own cattle and all that sort of stuff. And it's very impressive the way that she lives. And I mean, we've known her since she was literally a teenager,
Yeah.
and to see her now where she is both, as a mother, mentally and spiritually, she's grown into a very strong person and clearly a good mother. And she obviously loves her husband and her family like to no end. And so for her, this is retirement from the profession for her. And I know you and I have been fortunate enough to be there in person and witness her in just some great matches. She was the women's champion of Resistance Pro for at least a year, if not longer. And she was truly the champion of the company during that time over any of the men's champions,
Yeah.
in all due respect to them. During her run, she was the main event. She
Yeah.
was she was the final match of those shows, and every show the priority was who can we bring in to face her, you
Yeah.
know. So she has always been, and I'm sure you would agree, nothing but absolutely wonderful and nice, a very good person, fun to be around, definitely funny, playful, just always such a good time to be around her. And I know it wasn't easy for her to kind of have this reality just dumped in her lap. Even if it's coming, it's still like when it happens and you're like, well, it's done, it can be tough. But I think everybody has certainly shown their appreciation to her online and wherever else. And I thought we would take a second and show ours as well. So
Yeah, it is bittersweet because I'm happy for Mary or Sarah, I should say, because she is living the good life. She seems very happy. I saw her in Indianapolis a couple of years ago at Squared Circle Expo. She gave me a big hug. It was so good to see her. And like you said, she was nothing but sweet. Inside the ring, she's a terror. She could take on anyone.
awesome. Yeah.
But outside of the ring, she's truly really a sweetheart. And we talked for a few minutes. She had baby was there, just as sweet as can be. It's bittersweet because she's happy and we're happy for her. But like you, I do miss seeing her in the ring. She had a lot of talent, even as a youngster. Even when she was just breaking in, you could see it. She had everything. She had the charisma, she had the talent, she had the look, she had it all. But I mean, that's not the life that she really wanted. Ultimately, she's got the life that she wanted.
Right. And she didn't know that that was the life that she wanted. She found
Right.
that, she found it when she found Eric. And I think that it was good for her, from what, the way that she sounds talking about it and everything. She was always very good with the fans too, by the way. Like, I
Oh
mean,
gosh, yeah.
she was there to take photos with everybody. She was happy to do it. I've got pictures of her and my sister, and me and her when because she was champ when I was champ too. So
Yep.
I had pictures of us with our belts and everything, which is awesome to have. But and then she just is. It's like you said, it's bittersweet, but I'm happy for her. I enjoyed watching her when she was on WWE,
That was
and I'll
cool.
I'll tell you
Royal Rumble.
I was just gonna say my favorite moment was the Women's Royal Rumble, and it came down to her, and I don't know, I don't remember who it was who won the
Yeah.
thing, but it came down to the end, and like I thought she had won. Like they made
Oh,
it, and so did she. Like they
yeah.
made so whoever she had tossed out didn't go out all the way or whatever. I swear to God, I jumped off of my couch and was just absolutely screaming. I was
Yeah.
just flipping out, and then she
I
got
was.
eliminated, and I was like, no, I was like, I can't
Yeah.
believe it. But I mean, just even to be in that position is
Yeah.
still huge, to the point that they were like, because the crowd, I mean, like when the crowd
Oh,
thought she won, they
yeah.
went nuts. They were all about
Yeah.
it. Were not upset to see her win the Rumble if that was the case.
No.
But boy, it was something. It was really something.
Well, thank you, Sarah.
And
We
then she
appreciate everything
also,
you've done.
real quick she also had just a short run gimmick going with Michael Cole, if you remember,
Oh, that's right.
where
Yeah.
because she would come out with the Viking Raiders and she had this huge headpiece with like antlers and stuff on it. And so she would come out to the announce position and then just not say a word, just take it off all the time and always put it on Michael Cole.
Yeah.
It's such a simple little thing, but was just hysterical every time. And Cole played it up well every time. And so like I have a lot of great memories of her on the independents, but even in her relatively
Yeah.
short time in WWE, I can still point to things. And I remember like before she was even like active on the roster, like they had a segment where Kane was working the concession stand on Raw and she was his boss and was like checking
Yes.
in on like during commercial breaks, like coming back from commercial breaks, like she'd be checking in on him, like, well, are the fries done? It's like, are you,
Yeah.
doing this? And then she was the Mrs. Makeup artist or something for another thing. So they were playing around with like little things. And then eventually they put her on the full blown roster. She competed in the Mae Young Classic. I mean, like, she did all sorts of great stuff in WWE and she deserved to be there. And, again, I
She's
won't
on my
belabor.
wall of favorites. I forget where exactly she is. Oh, I don't know if you can see
Hey,
that.
that's me right behind you, right there,
Yeah,
man.
she's way up on top there. There you go.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Second from the right.
Yeah. She's on my wall of favorites. Yeah, you're on my wall. You're one of my favorites. I'll admit it.
Yeah, I think that's
Of
just
course, it took
because.
Lisa Prati and El Snow to really jazz it up, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it has more to do with them being in it. So anyway, not to belabor it, but it's just we got nothing but love for her, and we wish her the best. And so thank you for everything, Sarah, Crazy Mary, and Valhalla. So the three phases of
well
Sarah.
said.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, thank you everybody for tuning in to Pinfalls once again. Hit us up with your predictions and let us know what you think. Tell us even after the match, after the show, what you thought about it. And we will be back again for the next pay-per-view.
Hopefully, we'll
This
be
is
tied by then.
We'll see. There's a chance. There's a chance for this guy to catch up. I feel like my worst case scenario is I could lose one of them, but I'm not losing that Rollins one.
We'll see.
So, all right, there it is.
Enjoy
Thank
the
you,
show.
as always. I, of course, have been who else but Tommy else. And with me, as always, is my irritant, my nuisance, my competitor
Your pal, your buddy.
from JohnG'sBeat.com, Mr. John Wroblewski.